What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight to finish up Lake Fork Reservoir. That's right. If you guys have missed all the other videos, I don't know how many we've done, 4 or 5 at least, doing all the Google Earth stuff. We've been doing all the offshore stuff, and now it's time to go ahead and finish up on our last offshore hotspots video. Let's go see what we can find. Let's jump in here to Lake Fork and finish this thing up. If you missed the earlier videos, we did several Google Earth videos where we actually drew the water down and really just pinpointed any kind of debris, laydowns, rocks, all kinds of cool stuff that we found that way. And then we followed that up using what we see here in front of us, which is the Navionics mobile boating app. We're going to use that to go and look at the contours and try to find key areas or hotspots for where we can find the fish. So when we started this offshore adventure, we started down here in Big Caney. We went up, covered that whole area, covered Little Caney, went all the way up the northern side. We came back down, and when we stopped on our last video, we stopped just below Mustang and all that right here off of this point. So that is where we are going to start at today, and we'll work our way on down. So if you haven't watched any of those videos, please go check those out. You can find them on our lake breakdown page. It'll make all of this stuff make sense. We have the full entire lake broke down, but it takes several videos to do that. So go check it out. And don't forget to go out to our website, simplisticfishing.com, and pick up all of these waypoints, plus the Google Earth waypoints. They'll be on a card for you. You can basically put them in your graph, and it will change the way you fish. It will definitely help you out when you're out there on Lake Fork trying to find some good spots to find some fish. All right, so coming off this point, what we're going to do is we're going to come down. Now, there's a lot of interesting stuff right here in this area. Really, just if you look at the contours, that means, clearly there's a big break going on somewhere right in here. There's some hazard areas going on right through here where there's some rock. There's some good breaks and stuff like that. But what I really like to do is I like to fish the inside of this long point that comes out here, a long hump, whatever you want to call it, underwater hump, point, whatever we're going to call it, but I like to fish around it. So one of the spots that I really like, and it makes sense, obviously, if you look at it on this map, is going to be down here in the lower right-hand side. So notice this creek bed that comes up. This is Dale Creek. It's going to come through here. And when it comes through here, it makes a really sharp turn right in this spot right here. And there's some really big breaks going on right here in this area. So this, from an offshore spot, would be a really good spot to go look and see if you can locate them there. A couple other areas may be right in here, getting way out in 30 foot of water and getting on the other side of that break, checking that out, that little underwater hump there. Maybe come over here where there's a little underwater point, checking out right in there. As we move on up, the next spot that I have here is to check this spot right here. And the main reason there, again, is because that creek bed's really close to it. And you can see that you got some major drops going on. From here, it goes from 7 feet all the way down to like 32 feet really quickly. So you've got a good ledge there. These little green dots that you see here, these are actually rocks, or what they say are rocks. I don't really know. I've never scanned out there to find it. It's kind of a little bit deeper than I like to fish, but someday I'll get out there and start fishing a little bit deeper. And then also right in here, if you look at this little underwater point right here, it's got a really good ledge on it. And that little black dot, sometimes that means that there's brush piles there. You never know. Sometimes it'll tell me, sometimes it won't tell me. Now it's not even showing up. It just says pile. So definitely something to go investigate while you're back there. Now let's go ahead and let's go on back inside of Dale Creek here and just talk about some other areas that look pretty interesting to me. One of them is going to be right here. If you look really closely, you've got a little underwater hump that comes out, or a point that comes pretty far out here, but it's got a hump on the top of it that's at about 7 feet when the water's at full pool. Well, if you look at it, it's got this creek bed that's running right next to it. So on this side of the island would be a prime area to find some fish setting up. That looks really good. And also right in here, just the whole saddle right here, the saddle is really just this huge, well, there's a huge flat right here that's about 11 foot. The saddle's kind of small, but fishing in that saddle, and then I would even fish up here too and just see what you can find, because you just never know. That creek bed's really close. And then I'm sure we talked about it when we were on the offshore side, but clear as day on this from the contours. that you've got a pond dam going on right here in this area as well. So some good stuff going on right in there. Let's keep moving on down, see if I marked anything else down inside of Dale Creek. I didn't really mark any other really prime spots, but I'll go ahead and point out a couple spots to you if I were to come back here and just checking it out, the spots that I would probably be more attracted to. And one of them is going to be right here off the edge of this point. Again, you can see because you have the breaks that are here. Also, I'm going to come over here probably and look at this. This bank line is really deep for some reason. And it looks like there may be an old pond there or something like that right outside of that dock that's right there in that area. So maybe checking out right in here. I mean, 17 feet off the end of that dock. I mean, really that dock looks like it could be pretty good. Plus it's an isolated dock as well. And then just kind of moving up, I'd probably just kind of follow that creek bed and just see, you know, is there anything else that looks interesting? Maybe right in here where it comes out quite a ways, has a little underwater point, creek bed on the other side, maybe right in here. But nothing too spectacular that really caught my eye back in there. I really, when I'm back here and fishing, like I got to be honest, I'm staying mainly up here and mainly offshore, basically from right here to right here. All right, so we're going to move on down. We're going to talk about this next little area. And I didn't put any waypoints here, but that's not to say that there aren't some really good offshore spots that are right here that we might be looking over. I can't mark every single offshore hotspot for you guys on Lake Fork. That would be almost impossible. But really what we're trying to do here is trying to get you to understand where those offshore hotspots are, what types of things you need to be looking for. So in this case, there's a really good example right here in front of us. Notice how flat the top of this is. See how everything else pretty much breaks off? But right here, you've got this huge flat that's coming off of Main Lake Point. Well, that, my friend, means that's a really good spot to go try to find some fish. It's like a giant, huge dinner table for them where they can push the shad up there and chase them around, get them in the shallows and attack them. So in here, a really good area to fish. Plus, it's a Main Lake Point. You can't beat that. As you get a little bit farther back in here, this is Ray Branch. I didn't mark these spots again, but I'll go ahead and talk about some spots here. One would be right here. If you notice this creek bed that's running down, it's slamming right up against this point. It's creating this really good underwater spot that's right there, like a little underwater ledge. So I would look in there. I would look here too, and then I'd follow that creek bed back, maybe check right here where that little bend is. And then getting back in here, obviously that's fun fishing come springtime, you know, getting back here in the shallows. But that's really all I saw from the offshore standpoint on that spot. As we move back here, there's that huge flat I was talking about. We come down in here, there's not too much going on in here as far as offshore spots to really point out for you, except for right in here, this spot right in here, where it's pretty flat right in here. And then you have a really nice drop. There's something going on right in here. And there could be even possibly be some pretty good breaks over here on the other side of it. So I would check out this little point, just kind of this whole area right in that spot. Now, as we get down in here, this is another area where I fished a ton. We've had a lot of success in this area. So I know this is a really good area to fish. But if you look down here, you've got these really good points. I mean, they stick out like crazy. I've marked one of them, but really there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 right here that you could fish. And if that pattern was on, you're golden because you've got 4 of pretty much the same exact thing going on right here. Well, I guess one of them is not exactly the same because it's further out, but look at these little underwater high spots that come up. These are little points that come out. And off the edge of these points, you've got all this timber that's out here as well. So you've got really nice little breaks off the edges of them, nice good tabletops on the top of them. Another good one right here. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and I guess you could say 4, but this one's not tied to the land, but still that's going to be a really good underwater hump to go fish. Also over here where I've got it marked, this is a really good area to fish. The back side of this hump right here has a really good break, and I've been able to locate them here several times. So definitely coming out here, checking it out. Sometimes it'll be up on top of this thing, feeding as well. You could also swing over here, get closer towards the bank line, find where that break is right there, a little bit outside those docks. That could be a good area to look at. And then as you get down here, this is kind of community hole central. You see people fishing here all the time. In fact, I think Scott Martin was even fishing this roadbed in one of the Bassmasters, or maybe it wasn't Bassmaster at that time, whatever it was that he was fishing, but he was down here fishing. There's a really good roadbed that comes right across here. You basically follow that roadbed. There's a lot of standing timber and stuff like that. But in the middle of that roadbed, you've got a little hump that's out there too. And really, it's this whole area. I mean, they'll get around that roadbed. They'll get way out here on these culvert. They'll get up here, they'll get closer. I mean, you just never know where they're going to be. But this area right in here is a very, very, very high percentage area for you to go find something. Then we're going to keep moving back in here. This is Cheney Creek. There's some interesting stuff back in here. I've never spent a lot of time exploring back in here. Kind of beat around the bank and stuff like that, but nothing from an offshore standpoint. But if I'm going to go back here, I'm going to look at some offshore stuff. I mean, take a look at these areas right here where these creek bends are. Go here where this point comes out and see if that creek bend actually comes down and slams into that point a little tighter than really what it's showing. So maybe right in there, maybe look here where the intersections are. So take a look at that kind of stuff. But overall, didn't see too many things there that were just going to blow my mind from an offshore standpoint. Now, I do see a lot of people come down here and fish around this point a lot. Can't say that I've seen a lot of people catch a ton of fish around that area, but definitely see people fishing around there. And then another spot I didn't really mark, but follow this road bed out and see if you can find some stuff right here in the area right here, right on the corner of the dam. So that pretty much covers us. We're going to go back out where we started, back onto our first spot. And that was this little hump that comes out on the dam. This is a place where you can catch some giants. So spend some time out here fishing and see what you can find. This is a great, great place to find some really good fish. So guys, I hope that really helps you. This one was definitely a shorter video today because we didn't have too much left to cover on Lake Fork. But glad we had the chance to go over it. Again, please make sure to go out, check out the site, simplisticfishing.com. You'll get all of these waypoints plus the Google Earth waypoints put onto an SD card for you, so you can basically just plug it into your graph. We've also got the digital versions available as well. Please go out and check out our sponsor, omniafishing.com. The link is in the description. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.